Hi everyone, Josh here with Alternative Brewing. What's up? Are you struggling to perfect your basic latte art patterns? Whether it's a heart that looks more like a blob or a rosetta that just won't bloom, chances are the culprit lies in the angle and the movement of your pour. So in this video, I'll show you exactly how to identify what's going wrong by breaking it down step by step, and then I'll guide you through how to fix it so you can finally pour with some confidence. Now, if you do come to enjoy this video, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All right, let's get into it. So we'll begin by zooming in on the 6 degrees that you need to master to pour like a seasoned barista. These 6 moves include up and down with the jug from the cup, otherwise known as height of the jug, left and right across the surface of the cup, tilting the jug more or less, rolling the jug left or right, and of course aim, and where you're aiming the spout of the jug into the cup. Now, these are key to getting that perfect latte art every time, and the goal here is to identify what's going wrong with your pour, and then I'll show you exactly how to fix it. Possibly the most common issue when pouring is how high the jug is from the cup. Up or down? Let's start there. This is your first level of control over your pour, adjusting the height of your milk jug above the cup. This allows you to control the speed at which the milk enters the crema and then how much crema and milk remain on the surface, which creates your latte art. Now, what to look for when the jug is too high is it's almost like the perfect dive. The milk tends to flow too fast straight through the espresso and blends but doesn't really disrupt and disappears straight under the crema. And then you'll never see any latte art appear this way. It's a perfect 10 for a dive, but you won't get any score with your latte art. On the flip side, if the jug is too low, then you risk getting way too much milk layered across the surface of the espresso, and you won't get a smooth, controlled pour with thin lines. It will be a thick blob, and the contrasting milk color will completely overtake the espresso. Now, how to fix this is by maintaining a good height of around 3 to 5 centimeters above the cup when you first start pouring. And a confident pour to begin with is key. This gives you a good distance for control while allowing the milk to combine with the espresso, as we want to make sure we do mix the milk in the espresso to create that base to begin pouring our latte art. A simple way to demonstrate how this works is by showing how the height of the jug can make the latte art appear across the surface by lowering the jug down, and then by lifting the jug back up again, it will disappear once more. And height is just one key at unlocking control of the amount of latte art you get. Now, the next level of control we'll take a look at is left and right. And this also includes forward and back movements that refer to the horizontal position of the jug across the cup's surface. Now, if you are pouring down the side of the cup, this will lead to uneven or lopsided patterns. Now, you want the jug tip to be centered, or even a little back from center when you begin pouring, and never too far forward or back or off to one side, as the milk will run down the sides of the cup and that will create unexpected turbulence under the espresso, making it more difficult to stabilize that crema for a good base. So imagine the center of the cup and then practice pouring into this. This will go a long way getting your patterns looking symmetrical and even. And then depending on the movement speed, it can also help you create patterns, which brings us to tilt. When you tilt the jug, you'll be adjusting both the speed at which the milk exits the spout, as well as the texture of that milk, whether it's a thick or a thin stream that will eventually mix with the espresso. And the key here is to find that sweet spot. Too much tilt or not enough can lead to inconsistent milk texture, which is crucial when aiming for clean, defined latte art. And on top of that, the height of the jug and tilt often work in synchronicity, meaning that they both need to be adjusted together for the perfect pour. Now, it can be tricky to see these as separate elements, but understanding how they interact will dramatically improve the quality of your latte art. So, what happens if you don't tilt enough? The result is if the jug is too upright or close to vertical, the milk won't be flowing enough out of the spout, and it becomes more drip-like rather than smooth. This can result in thin foam and a lack of creaminess on the top of the surface of the espresso. The milk might not come out at all, but it might also come out in a rushed stream. Also, foam will sit at the back of the jug if it is upright, and then you'll just notice that all your latte art gets pounded onto the top of the coffee at the end. And this may also result from having a jug too full of milk to begin with, or hesitant in tilting the jug to start. And what happens if you tilt too far? Now, tilting the jug too flat or close to horizontal causes the milk to flow too quickly and forcefully out of the spout of the jug. And this creates a rushed pour that lacks any control. And whilst you might get a lot of foam and a lot of milk over that crema, it is much harder to achieve those intricate latte art designs. So if the milk is flowing out too fast and washing out that pattern completely, again with no definition, the jug may be tilted too far. To resolve this issue, tilt the jug at a more upright angle. We do want to aim for around 45 degrees to slow down the flow of that milk and allow for a better texture formation out of the spout and into the crema. Now, it's almost counterintuitive, but the faster the pour, the thicker the milk, and the slower the pour, the thinner the milk. And then finding that sweet spot is finding the right tilt whereby you can then drop the jug down close to the surface of the milk and still feel like you have control over the speed and the definition of that milk as it creates the pattern. Now that we've covered off tilt, let's discuss rolling and how it impacts the pour. Rolling refers to the action of your wrist whilst you're holding that jug. And you may be rolling your wrist too much to one side or the other whilst pouring, and the milk will then flow unevenly, coming out one side of the spout rather than down through the center. And this disrupts the flow, causing the milk to behave unpredictably, making it difficult to create clean, controlled latte art. If the milk is coming out to one side of the spout and not flowing evenly into the cup, this can result in making it harder to guide the milk into desired patterns. Essentially, this will cause your pour to become more erratic and difficult to control. You may even have one or more of the other angles off due to the position of your wrist. Perhaps you're gripping the jug too tight and overcompensating elsewhere. Now, to prevent this, aim to keep your wrist as neutral as possible during the pour. Think of it like holding a motorcycle handle and avoid unnecessary movement in it. By keeping your wrist steady, the milk will flow evenly through the center of the spout, giving you smoother control over your pour. Now, I've discovered rather than gripping the jug tight, a less clenched grip and a more relaxed grip can center the whole jug better and also ease any tension in your hand whilst pouring. And finally, aim. Aim refers to the directional focus of the jug during the second phase of your pour, specifically after you've started the initial latte art creation and you're now guiding the milk into the center of the cup. This is about making sure that the tip of the spout is pointing directly towards the back of the cup around 12 o'clock, ensuring then that the milk flows evenly into the cup and divides the pour in half. If your aim is pointing too far to the left or right, one side of your latte art pattern will appear larger than the other, and the milk will flow unevenly, making it hard to create symmetrical patterns like hearts, rosettas, or tulips. If you're trying to create wave patterns or swirls in the cup, improper aiming of the spout can help. But to achieve that perfect split in the cup, position your spout directly above the center of the cup and aiming to the 12 o'clock position at the back of the cup. This alignment ensures that the milk flows evenly to both halves of the cup, creating symmetry in the pattern. Now, if you're looking to practice without wasting too much milk or coffee, or constantly cleaning your equipment, here's a pro tip. Try practicing your pour with some water mixed with a bit of dishwashing detergent to steam this up. This mimics the flow and the texture of the milk, and you could also use soy sauce as your espresso. Now, these two won't behave exactly like the real thing, but it'll certainly help you track your pour and learning how the milk will behave whilst pouring, letting you perfect your angles and control without further additional costs or mess. And another great practice trick is pouring water straight into a glass. It's a super accessible way to build up that muscle memory in your wrist and elbow for those intricate pours, and it helps you get to feel for different angles and movements in the jug. But by the time you're ready to impress with real milk, you'll be so much more confident in your technique. Of course, all of this won't matter if your espresso is off when it comes time or your milk isn't frothed properly. So certainly be sure to check out my other videos on brewing and steaming milk from the tips on those crucial steps. And thank you so much for sticking around to the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.